Woke teachers panic as they lose their jobs over new anti-DEI laws. These teachers aren't being directly fired, but they are being told there are certain things they can teach and certain things they can't teach. But aside from that, the most important thing for these college professors is getting tenure. It's almost as important to them as their retirement. Why do they want tenure? Tenure means they can basically do whatever they want. Academic tenure is a type of employment status for college professors that guarantees their job until they retire. It allows them to teach whatever they want, any way they want. It's academic freedom, which you would think would belong to the students. When students go to college, you want them to have access to academic freedom for the students, not for the teachers to push an agenda. But now that tenure is under threat in multiple states. Tenure is an indefinite appointment that can only be terminated for a justifiable reason or under extreme circumstances, such as financial constraints of the college or program discontinuation. Tenure protects professors from losing their jobs due to disagreements with administrators and protects their right to express their scholarly opinions. Oh, my dear, we know all about your scholarly opinions, and we don't like them. It's also a way to defend the principles of academic freedom, which is the idea that scholars should be free to examine a variety of views. But it's not a variety of views they're examining. They're examining their own political views, their own political ideology, and they are punishing and abusing students with their power. It's not like it's a new thing to offer tenure and academic freedom to professors. But it is a new thing for people to take political action in their professional environments, and it's been extended inappropriately to college classrooms. This main story focuses on what's going on in Florida. A lot of excellent changes in Florida thanks to Chris Rufo, Ron DeSantis, and the rest of their team. But this threatening of teacher tenure is something that's happening in more than just Florida, and the teachers aren't winning this fight. From Inside Higher Ed, judge tosses a professor's lawsuit against Indiana's intellectual diversity law. Intellectual diversity, what's wrong with that? This is a new law in Indiana that states teachers actually need to teach students that there is more than one valid point of view. It's not just the professor's personal political take on the world that they should be thinking about. A judge dismissed a lawsuit that had sought to invalidate the parts of a new Indiana law requiring public colleges and universities to deny tenure to professors who are unlikely to foster intellectual diversity, and requiring post-tenure reviews that consider whether tenured professors have provided intellectual diversity. This means if you take a one-sided political view in your classroom and you're a professor, you're going to lose that opportunity at tenure. And even if you have tenure, you're going to get reviews to demonstrate that you are following the law. And if you're not following the law, you're going to lose your tenure. And that's going to affect your job, and it's going to affect your retirement. The only thing these teachers and professors want more than tenure is their retirement. Now, there's nothing wrong with working hard all your life and wanting to earn a great retirement with all kinds of financial compensation and health benefits. But it's under threat now. Because when these professors crossed the line and decided they'd push their agenda in their classrooms, they upset enough of the population that the population said, no, we need some laws against this. We need to get these people back in line. And that's what's going down. From InsideHigherEd.com, New College of Florida is dumping books and losing professors. And these professors can go and get lost. They are losing their jobs because they're getting turned down for tenure and they're having to go find work somewhere else. The conservative transformation of the institution continues, with gender studies texts being tossed and the faculty chair plus other professors taking leave, leaving the institution. This past week provided plenty of reminders that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' conservative overhaul of public higher education in his state still isn't over, especially not at New College of Florida, where Republicans stacked the Board of Trustees with conservative members back in January 2023. And some people thought that wouldn't make much of a difference. It's made an enormous difference. They drove this lady right out of the college. The Sarasota Herald Tribune reported Thursday that New College was throwing out books that had been housed in its now shuttered Gender and Diversity Center. Chris Rufo, one of DeSantis' New College board appointees, and the activist who helped fuel the right's crusades against critical race theory and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and the single person most responsible for getting rid of Claudine Gay, the former head of Harvard caught with plagiarism, posted to Twitter that, quote, "We abolished the gender studies program. Now we're throwing out the trash." He also shared a photo of Marie Kondo, the tidying expert who urges homeowners to discard items that don't spark joy. The Gender and Diversity Center book disposal coincided with the college's main library throwing away books. The media's coverage of that bibliophile's nightmare, piles of volumes of books being tossed in a dumpster, continued through Monday. That's when the Herald Tribune reported the college had placed library dean Shannon Hausinger, who only started the position in February, on administrative leave. College spokesperson Nathan March told Inside Higher Ed that Hausinger's leave is pending final determination of her employment. He went on to say, this action was taken after discovering that the library did not follow all of the state administrative requirements while conducting the routine disposal of materials. So they went a little bit overboard throwing away all the books, but we get the idea. The spokesperson didn't specify what specific requirement was violated. Richard Corcoran, New College's president, a former Republican Speaker of the Florida House and Education Commissioner, sent the campus community a message that appeared to suggest the main library was tossing books damaged by roof leaks. He said, quote, "The administration at New College has never been involved in deciding which books are selected or deselected from the library's collection. They threw the books out, okay? Whether or not some were damaged, we don't exactly know. We'll see what happens. But if you're closing the center, what are you going to do with the books anyway? Sell them at a flea market? I guess they could do that. A lot of things do get thrown away or destroyed or taken away and for no compensation, hauled away as junk when you close down an office. It's a typical thing in business. Last week also revealed that books aren't the only thing New College is losing. Amy Reed, a French professor, the chair of the faculty, the board member representing the faculty, and the director of the Gender Studies program. That's this lady, which the board majority has decided to phase out. They phased out the entire Gender Studies program, so she's taking leave. Leave could be a temporary leave. Leave doesn't necessarily have to mean forever, but they're not going to let her do whatever she wants to do. She's not going to have unlimited academic freedom to push her ideology on students. So don't expect to see her again. Amy Reed, the professor on leave, also counted at least a dozen other faculty members who worked at New College this spring and now won't be working there in the fall after retiring or taking unpaid leaves. And naturally, the spin in the article is, oh my God, all these professors are leaving the college. The professors leaving the college are professors leaving the college that the college does not want. Also, the college is uncharacteristically, because this is fairly atypical, turning down their tenure requests. Remember, tenure allows them to do whatever they want in the classroom, unless there's an extreme situation, and not get fired until they retire. So it's almost like an early retirement. You just go in, you kind of do what you want to do, push your agenda, do what you want, abuse your power, and you can't lose your job. Incredibly attractive to people who want to push an agenda. And there have always been professors that have abused their tenure. That's understandable, but it's a small percentage because for the most part, you've had professionals who cared about teaching, who cared about students, who cared about being fair and telling people things that would help them in their lives. You could trust these professionals, but they're not professional anymore. So no, they have to be held accountable, even after they've gotten tenure. And that's why they don't need these people teaching their students in Florida. For the professors leaving, it includes half the faculty members who earned tenure from the board this past spring, including at least two who had earned tenure in April after the board controversially denied it to them in spring 2023. These professors have been approved to receive tenure all the way up until they reached Corcoran and the board. The board is the one who is deciding what they want in the college. Having other faculty approve you and other people lower in the process approve you really doesn't mean anything when you want change at the college. Tenure denials at that level are rare in U.S. higher education. These faculty members had even been approved by the interim president before the board appointed Corcoran. Immediately after the vote, the faculty representative on the board before Reed resigned in protest, and the American Association of University Professors called the denials a violation of its recommended procedures. A violation of your recommended procedures? Who cares about your recommended procedures? We care about what happens to the students when they spend money, time, energy to try to get educated in a college and then take that experience and go out for the rest of their lives and try to accomplish great things in society. They're not there to become soldiers in a movement to try to turn the country into something it's never been. And that's what's made what these professors are doing so offensive. You're not there to indoctrinate them. You're there to give them opportunities. Help these students understand how the game of merit and networking is going to dictate their future for the rest of their lives, and their family's future, and their children's future, and potentially their children's children's future. These new departures come after more than a third of the college's faculty members, around 40, left before the 2023 to 2024 academic year. While at the college and on the board, Reed had pushed back against the new members and provided an inside voice to the press about what was happening amid the conservative overhaul. The Herald Tribune reported she operated as a vote against the board majority's plans and a questioner of their strategy. She told the feminist magazine Ms. that she helped push back on her administration's efforts to have faculty members help enforce a law that bans people from using bathrooms matching their gender identity. Florida went in and fixed all the bathrooms, so if you had a gender-neutral bathroom, they got rid of it at that college. Back to men and women. Quote, they shuttered the gender studies program, and then this week they destroyed the students' gender and diversity center. She said students created the center over 30 years ago. Quote, there's no justification for throwing out those books, she said. Well, where are they going to put those books anyway? I would have thrown them out. Although if it's not according to professional procedures, and I would always check the procedures if I was in any kind of position of responsibility, and I'd go along with the procedures, but I don't really know what you're supposed to do with all these LGBT books and whatever history books there are that no one's going to use because the center is closed. Are you supposed to pretend the center is going to reopen somehow and just store the books indefinitely? Now Reed says she's among those taking unpaid leave, but she's not exactly done fighting. Here she goes. Reed will spend the upcoming academic year in Washington, D.C., working for the pre-expression nonprofit PEN America, continuing to push for the academic freedom she sees being lost at New College. Academic freedom. It's a good term. I like the term academic freedom. I want everyone to have academic freedom, but primarily the students. I want the students to be free to learn like what the world is actually like. And sure, there are all kinds of ideas. Teach all kinds of ideas. Have intellectual diversity. But legitimate intellectual diversity, different ideas. Don't take impressionable minds. And young people are extremely impressionable and poison those minds with a one-sided idea that has nothing to do with what America's all about. And don't try to excuse it and say, oh, because America's evil. They have an evil history. So we can't teach you American ideas. We need to teach you new ideas that are not new ideas. They're totalitarian ideas. They're ideas where you give up your freedom so you can just do what you're told to do. We don't need that kind of academic freedom. But to say you're going to embrace that idea and use your, quote, academic freedom, unquote, and your tenure to force that as the only legitimate idea that young people should think about when they're in your classroom, that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. Quote, there's been a concerted effort to push out students and faculty like me, Reed told Inside Higher Ed. It's been my distinct privilege to teach at New College for the past 29 years. I love teaching, but the question is, will New College still be a place where I can teach? No, it doesn't sound like it is. Sarah Hernandez, an associate sociology professor and chair of the grievance team for the New College chapter of the United Faculty of Florida Union, said she's taking research leave herself. That's both because she has a new project to work on and also because I needed a little bit of distance from what she called a hostile work environment, because you're being challenged, because that's your contra-power harassment, right? Which we covered in another video earlier this week, where the DEI people are getting blown off by professors, blown off by some of the students, not answering their nonsense questions, so they call that harassment, contra-power harassment. It's a term, of course, they've made up. And what the DEI people want is for contra-power harassment, resistance to their nonsense, to become literally a crime. So you could be taken to court over it, so that you could pay restorative justice for it. Again, that's reparations for blowing off DEI people. They want you to pay reparations and suffer criminal penalties. But that's another video. Sarah Hernandez went on to complain. New College, she said, is not a pleasurable place to be working at this point. And that's very unfortunate. She needs to have pleasure when she's at New College. How about just put your pleasure in your personal life? And maybe when you express yourself creatively, but you're not there for pleasure. You're there for work. Teach the students. Live up to the responsibility you've been given. No, she can't do that. She needs to go on leave. And so she's going on leave. In her view, both New College leaders and Florida legislators are to blame. Quote, some of the individuals might come back if we can get the college to do the right thing, Hernandez said. Others may not if they can find better opportunities elsewhere. All of you professors who care more about your academic freedom than your students, who care more about your tenure and your opportunity to work without being challenged so you can abuse your power. No, you're not welcome there. Go do this someplace else. Go fool other people into giving you some ideal position so you can just pleasure yourself, focus on how you feel instead of your responsibility while you're at work. Holding professors accountable for inappropriate behavior is not what this is about. This is about the college being able to fulfill its function to the students. This is people's lives we're messing with. It's not supposed to be a free-for-all to push your ideology and to enjoy yourself. And that's the kind of change we see happening in Florida and in other red states, and should be happening all across the country. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.